Hi, thank you for joining me. This is my first reading of 2023. It's weird even to say that number, but I'm going to do a reading on Robert Downey Jr. I just Googled who was the top actor, since the theme of these videos is celebrity readings. So it's interesting to look at what energies are around people that are like so well liked or observed by people that like they rise to the top, and so like what they're going through. And even though I'm reading about a single person, I think there's a lot everybody can relate to in their story, or like any advice that comes up might be uh, relevant for the viewers and stuff. Sorry, I don't. I'm not always talking. I don't. My work isn't really verbal or like phone etiquette or stuff like that. So I apologize that I mumble and I'm soft spoken. But maybe as the video goes on, I'll be easier to understand. I put that the language of the video is Canadian English to some kind of like reason for how I speak and stuff. But so I had a roommate in high school who told me, who was from the States, and she told me I spoke like a newscaster. So maybe it's a combination of Canadian English and like media English. I don't know. Anyhow, here we go. Robert Downey Jr. There's some kind of like, I'm gonna say it feels like a bit of someone who's already passed, female in his family, who's a very strong force right now in his life. Like sometimes you get like interfering kind of karmic partner vibes and stuff like that, but this feels like someone who's passed. It could be like a spirit guide who's very like, he might be very spiritual. He might be intuitive to the point where he realizes he has a spirit guide that he communicates with, or so he might like make most of his decisions based on intuition or signs and like stuff like that, more than logic, like human logic. Because I feel like this energy has like more of a say than even he has, or something like that. Like it's like a strong light that um, seems more uh, persistent in the image I get than like even his own energy. So, and it doesn't feel like menacing. It feels like very direct and powerful. I think he's humbled himself sufficiently that he realizes he's not in charge, and that like he needs to be like a good boy, like paying attention to what who is truly in charge. I'm gonna call that God, and like depending on your ability to read energy, it can either seem like just like a generalized source, or you can kind of nitpick among like, okay, that's my spirit guides, that's God, that's. So I do feel like he has some ability to differentiate between like his sort of spirit guide, which may be an ancestor. That might have been like the way to kind of like draw his attention, would be like a feeling of remembering someone's energy and then allowing that in, and then allowing these spiritual advices to come. So can you make advice plural? To come in and like help guide him. Because it's kind of like he was like messy in his sandbox play, and he realized like, where is this getting me? There must be something better. I must be able to be good, because he sensed his own goodness. And it's like, how can I express my goodness? I was able to express my random humanity, kind of, whatever warrior. Like I've been all these other kind of archetypes, like the winner, the loser, the everything. And it's like, this seems limited to me. This seems like a little sandbox enclosed by like a 1x8 piece of wood or whatever. And there must be something more. So he's like, why don't I surrender to God? Okay. And I feel like he has his moments of like going back to his old ways, but he knows to check in maybe once every 4 days or something like that, to be real about God being in charge. But he works through this ancestor who was like more spiritually adept than other ancestors, who is, I feel like, female. I get this really creepy feeling about, I don't know, I did almost no research for this, and I'm not like I've seen him in stuff in the past, but I can't recall like what they were. I mean, the last show I watched was Love on the Spectrum, so it's like, I don't generally watch like whatever stressful shows or whatever. So I think he plays like an action figure or something, and he's been in other stuff involving like interpersonal conflict, or that's the kind of vibe I feel like I've seen him in. But anyhow, I don't know who. Long story short, I don't know who his current partner is, but I feel like they're someone who like is well liked generally, and who gives off a strong energy, but like they, even though they might be a good person, quote unquote, I don't feel like they're a good match. And I feel like this ancestor is like, oh hell no, kind of like, I don't know. So I'm just gonna look at that a little bit. Because I feel like, okay, you know how you can like be with someone and you want to help them, or like help lift their career up, but then you're like using your energy, your life purpose to feed somebody else's, and like, is that really a good partnership rather than interdependent, like instead of codependent, or like siphoning off of somebody else's success and energy? Wouldn't it be better just to complement each other's energy and be kind of independently fueling your own success, right? So I kind of feel like he's fueling this person's success, but in the end, it doesn't serve them, even though they're gaining like maybe more notoriety, more money, like whatever. But it's actually them no longer learning their own lessons and developing. So there might be this sort of frozen in time, like immaturity that is retained by not learning your own lessons and kind of just taking the magic carpet ride on somebody else's voyage or I don't know. I hate the word journey. I like the band, but I don't like the word journey. All right, because people like use it too much. And it's like, I kind of feel like when people say like good luck on your journey, it's like F you. So I just like, journey is like a red flag. Plus I'm in like the healing biz, so it's like you hear it like too much. All right, so you can hear my chihuahua barking in the background. He's okay. All right, looking at this partnership, and then like, so from Robert Downey Jr.'s side of the relationship, I'm just gonna look at that. To him, it's like he doesn't see that he's using up all his energy in this because he's used to always over giving. But it puts him in the darker him persona, because he's not having adequate boundaries. And then when he's having his boundaries stepped on, and it brings up the darker defensive version of him, which is a waste of his time. So you can like leave people alone who are good, interesting, beautiful people, because they don't serve your purpose. And you have to be kind of rigorous about that. It's hard work. And like, that's why they say like, narrow is the way, or whatever, or narrow is the gate, or straight is the way, something like that. It's not just like a line in the Bible, it's like good advice, because like if you stray off of your alignment with your purpose through God, like you're going off path, which is another way of saying sinning. Like you got off the GPS, and you're going to be rerouted through some amazing bullshit to like teach you not to do that again. And it's not that fun, and it can take years and years to learn that lesson. And then you're back like 10 years later, just like, oh my gosh, like you're too tired to be rebellious at that point, and you just get back on your path. So it's like better to just like believe your positive like intuition and be good. All right, so yeah, so it's like say no to too many desserts kind of thing. Like, ooh, that looks good, but I'm on a diet of like just being good. So he needs to really look at like, yeah, sure, he can have any partner, within reason. I'm sure not everyone in the world is attracted to him, but he certainly has more choice than the average person in terms of partners. And he needs to really see who aligns with his path, and like who will not bother me on my path but still be a wonderful partner. Like he needs to really figure that out and be selective. All right, so that's the whole relationship angle. Let's see what else. Oh, I get like some really there's some really like invasive energies around him. I don't know if he has like an arch nemesis. Oh my god, I almost feel like I have to protect myself against this, but I'm just gonna like just observe it. I hope the audio is working. Sometimes it's not, but I'm just gonna continue. I've been sick for the last like 2.5 days. I think I had food poisoning, so I'm not like top energy. And so like if this is not recording properly, I probably won't redo it because I'm too tired. But I kind of feel like it's been like a month or something since I did a reading, so I just want to get back on the horse. All right. Okay, what is this energy that I'm picking up? It has the vibe of like his workplace. Like, I don't know if it has to do with his superhero. I don't know if he's in the X-Men or Marvel or if that's the same thing. Some costumed, violent business he's wrapped up in. Is the vibe, and it seems to have like a long-ish contract feel, and that's what the problem is. There's a lot of stuff he's obliged to do through this work that might stop him from doing like his more life purpose stuff. Sorry, I'm gonna. Sometimes when I do a reading, there's a lot of heavy energy. My nose gets I have to sniffle and stuff. All right. Okay. What? All right. So it just seems like there's some staff members in this workplace thing that are like too heavy, or they feel like my way or the highway. They have a very like limited view of like what their options are or what the options for their clients and workers have to be. So it would be frustrating to deal with them and to try to find some kind of alliance that's good for everybody. So, and maybe Robert Downey Jr. isn't the most diplomatic person in these types of meetings, because he perhaps how he was raised, or he's just like the way he's formed is like from a privileged type of mindset. So he might feel like he's above people, or he's like allowed certain privileges are guaranteed to him, which not everybody feels, you know. So in the case of meeting with someone he might feel is not of his caliber, he would come off as like there's like a police car siren right now, so he might be alarming to some people because his lack of diplomacy. Even if he feels he's at his most diplomatic, he might still come off as like a brat to people in a meeting, in a business meeting. And like there's so much it's really weird. It's not like something I would come up with, but it in the like kind of super like jambalaya kind of like of different people talking to each other, like, you know, someone might have resentment for somebody like that, like because they're like in the administration aspect of someone's big career, or like, so you could trigger people whether you know it or not by acting privileged, you know. There's a word that is obvious to everybody. I can't think of entitled. Yeah. So it's almost like they want to punish him, not because he doesn't deserve these contract changes, but because he comes off as like a bitch or something. Like, so for his own sake, for his own peace, like humility to a degree that he's not quite used to, although he's been humbled by life, or, you know, he needs to raise his humility to a level that he didn't think was achievable, so that he can really be on an equal footing with people he's dealing with to have a better outcome professionally. You know, it's like that word namaste. It's like, you know, I recognize the light in you. I'm sure I'm saying this wrong. But like there's an equal footing, like we're both like, you know, of God equally. You know, I see that, I respect you kind of thing. So he needs to be like more like and not in a like just saying, you know, not just like sorry, what's not just saying it for the sake of saying it. There's a word for that. I can't think of right now. All right. So sorry, my mind's a bit cloudy from being sick and tired and stuff. All right. So here we are in this meeting. Yeah. So even if he doesn't like how someone looks, how they act, like how they're dressed, like anything, he has to get over that and really see like I am equal with this person and they have a purpose in their life and they were meant to be this person looking this way at this time to do this important work, like to, you know, we're all part of God's purpose. He needs to be like more in that vibe and humble himself in order to get better results contractually, and so like he can still be part of these violent kind of lifelike cartoons, like superhero stuff, but without losing all the things that he loves in his life, like his time or how he represents himself in the media, like whatever the obligations are surrounding his contract with that type of work that is long term. All right, I want to leave that little zone. But I do feel like he's pissed off like at least one person to a great degree that he needs to repair by humility and listening, and like maybe you need to just like hear someone out and then say like I'll get back to you in 2 days. So then that way if his ego wants to bubble up and boil over, he can do that in privacy. You know, it's like the great advice, I think it was the Oracle at Delphi, you know thyself. So it's like, hey, I know my ego can really come out front and blast everyone. So I need to respect my own process and my weaknesses by isolating myself for that reaction that I'll have. And then I can take another day to like, once that's over, make my decision based on like, you know, reality. All right, so we get chills after saying that. Okay, what's next? What else about Robert Downey Jr.? It must be hard for AI to like write the corresponding like subtitles or for this because I mumble so much. Like I looked at one, it was like almost every word was wrong. So I guess it's on me to enunciate better, but today's not the day for that. Okay, Robert Downey Jr. I feel like he's sort of setting something up that's really not a good idea. I don't know if he's like about to get married or he's planning something big or like a big longish vacation with someone abroad, or there's something that doesn't feel good. Like, what if someone could accept you and not have to marry you? Well, you know, what if someone could let you be you and spend time away from them and not, you know, it's like this, like people, the same people that fall in love with you it's because like you were you making your free decisions in your life that made you interesting, or like the person that they fell in love with, but then they want to restrict your behavior and your activities to be like just with them. And then that like essentially changes your character and turns you from like the person they fell in love with into like an angry captive. So it's like it's on him to go like, I'm going to preserve this person that they fell in love with by retaining my boundaries and my freedoms, still be this like wild child, like discovery, like flipping tables guy, like what, whatever his vibe is, the thing that the thing that makes him tick and feel energized. Like, 'cause some people are attracted to people with like a lot of wealth and options, and they want to kind of be the CEO of your life. Like, it would give them joy to control these various powerful aspects. But then that makes them kind of like Dr. Evil. So like his Dr. Evil might be this attractive woman. You just gotta like, you have to be blind. It's like Love is Blind or whatever. Go back to that room where it's like, what are your actions? I don't see you physically. What are the things that you do and say to me? Like, write them down. And it's like, forget that they're good looking or funny or charming. What is your behavior towards me objectively? And is that helping me or hurting me? You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to walk away from the chocolate cake or like the freshly baked donut, like you just have to walk away and have a glass of water sometimes just to get through life. You can't just be grabbing everything beautiful and delicious all the time. So, like, how are they really affecting my life? Maybe these donuts are ruining my health. Maybe this woman is ruining my health. So you really need to look at that. So I feel like if you want to bail from this long vacation or this impending wedding or whatever, this big involved expensive event or trip that I feel like is on the horizon, like if you decide to bail, maybe like buy 2 first class tickets for that woman's best friends so they can continue the trip without you if some work thing comes up. Like have some kind of plan B, because I feel like this thing is in the works and it might be hard to like fully like make it erase, so like you have to kind of have a plan B here. If he's with a partner that he's not super into, like maybe buying them a reasonably priced but not extravagant home that they can have as their like, personal space, and then they can kind of like see each other when it feels right. But then like they you can put a cap on the things that they demand from you by coming up with like some solid, sort of like divorcing, like some, okay, like the judge says you got to give this person 80 grand or what, and everybody signs off on it and call it a day kind of thing. So there has to be some kind of like agreement that puts a cap on how much this person can like invade your life, time and financially. I feel like someone's pissed that I said all that. I'm just telling you what I pick up. I don't know these people. Okay. Robert Downey Jr. I'll just come up with a couple of more things. I don't know how much time has passed. It feels like sufficient for reading, but I'll just say this a couple more things. I feel like in terms of the craft of acting, some of the projects he's in are limiting what he really wants to explore in terms of acting. So it's like you have to discern between the paycheck you might be offered for something and like what would actually make you happy, fulfilled, living your life purpose. Because like I know he's like a second generation filmmaker, actor, person, and so it's like if we're doing the thing of like, you know, standing on the shoulders of our ancestors, like continuing the work but bettering the work kind of thing. So like if part of his mission is to do that, like he needs to choose some projects or create some projects that only serve 100% this purpose of advancing the craft of acting. And that means shutting out the like, you know, dessert case of other options. And it might be seem too like aesthetic to do that, but sometimes starting at zero feels like a sort of poverty, but you're also creating like a whole new world of like, you know, starting with the seed instead of the tree or the forest, you know, like you're leaving the forest behind to go to just an empty dirt pile and planting one seed that you really believe in, and like, you know, watering it with your tears and the sunlight, or it's hard work, but it's worth it, and it's something that you believe in that comes truly from you. So I feel like he needs to do something like this in his acting life. Otherwise he'll just be like, his memories will just be a whirlwind of parties and people and kind of that forest atmosphere. Like, you know, it's like eating hot Cheetos or whatever that my daughter likes, that kind of stuff. Like, after, it's great eating it, but how do you feel after, you know, kind of thing. So it's better to do something substantial with your life. And if he can afford to still pay his taxes and groceries and stuff and like take a hit financially for doing something artistically relevant for him, it's worth it. Okay, this just feels like a couple other sort of cloudy areas I want to look at. I feel like with past hurts, like past relationships, he needs to like not dwell on those. He did his time. It's like what comes to mind is the Cassavetes film opening night. It's like you were in that play yelling or being hit or thrown down or, you know, having an intense conversation with someone in public, on stage, you know, and then it's like the show's over, just walk away, like have your tea and go to sleep kind of thing. So if you can think of those relationships as plays he was in and just leave it behind. Because it's not a good look to keep revisiting something you already put your energy into. The play's over, you know, some other plays in that building and you're coming in like a ghost. Like, it's just not a good look, right? So just let it be. Even if other people are still like up in arms over something, like they're going through their healing process and they might need to get over their ego, or they need to learn how to like not reach out to their exes and stuff. Like his ex-partner who's mad about this or that. You know, it's like being in the moment, like you're at your most powerful when you're in the moment. So you can have your doubts, you can be like in your mind, like looking at the past, worrying about the future, but like all you can really do, your best efforts are really like just to go, what am I doing right now? If I think positively about my life right now, you know, it has a quantum effect on past and future. My eyes are really just leaving. I try not to look at the screen, but anyway, hopefully the information is interesting. All right, so there's that element. That's one of his dark clouds. It's like the vibes of past relationships, but just like it happened. It's like living in a place like, okay, you can live in Maui, right, where like the ocean is like this beautiful, endless blue, like deep expanse that just sucks all the negative vibes out of everything. Or you can be in like Switzerland where it's like it's snowy here and it's like sunny here and it's like random and dangerous and whatever. So I would say he has more of a Switzerland or Antarctica kind of vibe of like past relationships. And it's just, it is what it is. But it's like, just live in the present. That's where you were. That's where you traveled through to get to here. And you don't need to go like frozen in time, looking back and worrying and trying to micromanage the past. Like, don't do that. And if the ex-partner sees you moving on and like living in the present, it'll influence them to do the same. Eventually, like even if they might have like a crying baby kind of reaction at first, they're not able to access you. Ugh, there's so much strong energy around him. Okay. I think he has been attracted to really strong, kind of manipulative characters. Maybe that were matching his own energies and insecurities at the time, but like he's a new person today. So, okay. Let's come up with one. Sorry, my back. I've been lying still for like 2 days. Okay, so yeah, so I feel like he has this sort of, I guess again with the doing some new project, he's not totally satisfied with how he's expressed himself so far in films. I mean, and that might have to do with like being an actor in like other people's stuff, like it's kind of a strong, like one thing I do, and people, well, at least one, yeah, like, I don't want to get into it too much, but like I do independent features. I, crew of one. I act in my stuff, and I like, it's like I'm fully in charge of the whole thing and in it too. And so really the only person I can blame for its strengths or weaknesses are myself. But I feel like when you're acting and you're not fully taking part in all aspects of it, you're not like going to the max with your message. And so he might feel like he was held back by other people's creative deficits in his past work. So really it's on him to, be almost like an art student and like be more implicated so that he's satisfied with what he's producing in the world and like his message and everything. But what I was sort of avoiding saying is like, even though I'm not well known, like financially successful with filmmaking, or it's very satisfying to me. And like definitely one person has like copied, like one famous person has copied my work. And so it's like, I'm just saying like, what am I trying to say here? well, at least one person saw the value in it, I guess, to copy it. But it's just saying like it's still worthwhile to make stuff, and I think eventually people figure out who did what first and stuff. Okay, so any last messages about Robert Downey Jr. Like if he has children or a son or something, he may have like that might not be like the best relationship right now. Let me just see what's going on there. I try to like do my readings with finding solutions for people, not just like trash talking their life. You know, it's on my type of work I do. Healing work is in part reading the energies, and then usually like I generally don't like just doing psychic readings because it's like I'm able to change the energies for the positive and find solutions or matchmake or stuff like that. So when I do these readings, it's like I'm trying to find their best route. So okay, so in terms of like his relationship with his kids or this child, trying to see what is the best route for them. Like, okay, I'm gonna compare it to the difference between him and his dad. Like, they're very different people. And you could say that, like, your children are karmic lessons for you. Because, like, who better than someone in your family who you love deeply to teach you the lessons you need to learn, right? Because you kind of can't escape them. So he needs to go, like, if a child of mine is angry with me and wants to call me out, like, let them call you out. Let them be different than you. Let them have different priorities, and let them be the person that is like carrying the torch after you, just as you might have after your dad. And humble yourself to the process of parenting. And know that your child has value, and that like really be curious about like what their life purpose is, and try to like not get in their way in terms of that, like, assuming their life purpose is positive. And don't really feel like you need to speak on their choices. Like, you know, it's not fun to have someone micromanaging you. Why would you do that to somebody else? So like there might be this aspect to Robert Downey Jr. that is a bit too comfortable speaking his mind here and there. But is speaking your mind the same as speaking your heart, or like humbling yourself to your heart space, which might make you quieter, you know, and more just in the energy of unconditional love. Just because you're successful in these worldly pursuits doesn't make worldliness good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's interesting to consider like the balance of those. I feel like that whatever negative energy the son or the child of his is generating, like it might feel negative right now, but if you just think of it as an energy that wants to pursue something, if you're at odds with it, it's going to come off as a negative thing. But if you like allow, if you see their energy as positive, and like where does it want to go, like what does it want to achieve, like, you know what I mean, if you think of it as a laser that could be good or bad depending on where it's aimed, like just try to get out of the way, try to get out of conflict with it, and it will suddenly seem like perfect and good. You know? So there's something to do with that involving his role as a parent. And I do feel like if he has exes or like baby mama, like exes, or sorry, like are in his ear, it's like you're not responsible to react to every word or text that you get from someone. Like you could decide, like on Friday from 2 to 3, I will respond to any communication from my exes or from people that, you know, write me a lot, and only at that time. You know, it's like having good boundaries. It's not like you're never going to answer, but you'll answer at a time that is good for you, and it gives you adequate amount of time to come up with the appropriate answer. And people just have to get used to you not being someone they can constantly go like, hey, you know, that would be distracting to what you want to create in your life. You know, hopefully this is good advice to anyone watching. All right, so even though there's more stuff going on, it's like I do feel like there's another like bad project like on the horizon that he's contemplating, another acting role that I feel like is not beneficial. I would recommend to him that he kind of start at zero with something that really matters to him, having to do with taking acting to a level that he wishes to achieve, even if it's a homemade movie. I mean, phones are adequate enough to make like a proper film nowadays. So if you can't find the funding or whatever, just do that. Like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's more compelling on YouTube than that is made like with millions of dollars. So, you know, there's that. And I think Steve Albini told me one time, like, you know, whether it's recorded poorly or well, it's still your mother's voice. You know, it's a very good point. So I'm gonna end the reading right here. Sorry, I guess I'm gonna end the reading partly because my throat is just like. I hope you enjoyed this reading about Robert Downey Jr. and I'll probably make another video soon. And I'll look more awake probably. And I hope whoever's watching this is feeling good today. And I will talk to you later. Okay, bye.